So when I divorced over 2 decades ago, I didn't just reject marriage as an institution. It had cost me dearly. And financially, I gave up pretty much everything.
Welcome to Should We Get Married?
My name is Emily Carter.
My name is Maxson and Emily.
And in this podcast, we're trying to figure out if we should get legally married to each other.
Or stay dating forever.
What's up with people playing it so cool these days?
Today's guest is Rob Schuham, a coach, writer, and a friend who went through a divorce where he lost most of his financial assets, never wanted to get legally married again, and now, 20 years later, is open to it.
Let's get into it.
We have heard through the grapevine that people are having reactions to the podcast and have thoughts, and we would really love to hear them. It would mean so much.
Even if it's just a one-liner saying, hey, this is really fun, or I listened to it on my way to work, or whatever, that would make us really happy.
I just ran into a friend, Emma, shout out Emma and Ryan, who said that she and her partner listen every week and have a conversation about the topic. And I bet there's so many others listening who are having stories like that, and we would super love to hear them. It could be one sentence, 6 paragraphs, 35 pages. We'll read all of it. We would love any feedback.
So yeah, you can reach out to us at swigumproject@gmail.com. That's swgmproject@gmail.com. swigumproject@gmail.com. Send us a note. It would make us super happy.
Yeah.
Emily, in this interview, we talked to Rob Schuham, and we talked about prenuptial agreements. We talk about what it's like to be married to someone who you love and have that marriage get really difficult and break apart. We talk about going through a really tumultuous, intense divorce that led to financial ruin, and how that was something that Rob leaned into. He was like, okay, that's okay with me. He's a friend of yours. He's a writer.
Yeah, he recently wrote a book called Man Sense, A Modern Gentleman's Guide to Real Courtship in a Short Attention Span World. And I haven't read it, but I think I've seen snippets here and there on Instagram, and it looks super interesting and kind of like a manual for courtship and how to be a gentleman in a world ruled by dating apps and phones.
Without further ado, here's our interview with Rob Schuham. Pew! We are here with Rob Schuham. Emily, tell us about how we ended up sitting here with Rob Schuham today and who he is to you.
Rob is my friend, and I met Rob on International Party Island Wellness Mecca, Ibiza.
That's where you met. Okay,
Yes.
So Rob, why'd you say yes?
Well, let's see. Number one, because it's Emily, and I think she's so cool, but she's a great human and great energy. And the inquiry, about me potentially participating in this was really actually quite interesting to me, because I've had some strong positions on this.
Yeah. You were married, you went through a divorce, you had 20 plus years of being not very open to marriage, and now you're open to marriage again. And I think that this is such a helpful perspective for us to pick into. So I'd love to start with, what was that first love story experience like? Where'd you meet, and what was the story?
Yeah, I'll caveat it by saying that my ex-wife, also the mother of our child, was, she and I actually have a great friendship. So that was a Herculean feat to get there, right? But it wasn't always that way.
You met when you were how old, and you married when you were how old?
We met when I was, 20. We met when I was 24. We started dating when I was 25. We got engaged at 26, married at 28, kid at 31.
Okay. Kid at 31, and then divorced at what age?
Like 33. But she and I met on the job. We both worked in an advertising agency in San Francisco. I actually had applied for and got the job that she was gunning for and had been working hard towards. And she is originally from Omaha. She went to Stanford, and then went to work at this advertising agency that we were both at. because she wanted to stay in the Bay Area. And I'm like this new person who kind of came in, swooped in, took the job that she wanted, and therefore she hated me. So we just kind of got to know each other. And then at some point, she actually asked me out.
Okay.
And I was a little like, wait, are we supposed to be doing this? Is this permitted at this advertising agency? So we dated, we fell in love. We ended up getting engaged. We got married in Napa Valley. Long ass story short, was part of a team that moved a bicycle company to Boulder, Colorado. That's how I ended up back in Colorado. And then probably 2 years after we were in Colorado, we broke up. So we separated and then eventually divorced.
How did you know that it was time to get divorced versus keep working on it?
We had tried everything, couples therapy. We were just not getting along. And by her own admission, she had some trauma. There was a lot of stuff being projected on me. It always takes two to tango. You know, anybody who's like blaming the other person for a divorce solely is ridiculous in my book. I did not know how to handle things like her anger or her upset. She was a raging perfectionist. At some point, after years of being in that 9-year container, I think I just was exhausted by not living up to her standards. And I kind of gave up. It didn't matter what I did. It felt like it just wasn't good enough for her.
Yep.
I couldn't hold the criticism either, right? I did not have the personal development or capacity to hold that and work with her through it. So it just created irreconcilable tensions over time. We gave it every shot we had. We separated. And I said to her, I want to exhaust every option for us to try and stay in this together. Let's do therapy. I don't care how many times a week we go, but let's just do it. And I remember the session that we were in where she kind of erupted and said, I'm not the one who has to change. He has to do all the changing.
Whoa.
And I was like, I think I'm done. And that was that. Mm-hmm. To her credit, a couple of years later, after she had done an enormous amount of therapy and trauma work and everything else, she came back to me and she said to me, you were right. I was wrong. And I feel horrible about this. And yeah, that was a very poignant moment. And it was also an overture from her to say, maybe we can try this again. But by that time I was gone. I couldn't turn back around. So, and I absolutely love her. And like I said, she's a dear friend. We found our way. She's remarried to the exact right man for her. And he is amazing. And they have been together for 15 years. And I consider him a friend. And so we've created something that actually is so beautiful. So yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. I love that story. And I feel like you've been around the block long enough to have these come around points.
Yeah.
You feel like looking back on this, you made a mistake getting married to that person, or do you not consider it a mistake?
It's a great question because I've actually pondered that more than a few times, particularly because she is in such a beautiful marriage now. You know, it seemed like everybody in their late 20s back in that era, they were all getting married. And so it's like I just had reinforcement from all over the place. And my ex-wife, she's great on paper. You know, she's awesome on paper. So the story I kept telling myself is she's going to become this thing, you know, this person that I have projected all over her, even though it doesn't feel like that in the present moment. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I had lots of reinforcement from around me, but then I also was reinforcing it with my own story about the person she could become. And then also I could become to make this marriage work.
One of the things that's thrown around a lot as people talk about marriage and divorce is like, divorce is so messy, it's so expensive. You're opening yourself up to...
It's so expensive.
I'm curious how that affected you financially. What does it look like? Like, how do you approach that process? What happens in that process?
So when I divorced over 2 decades ago, I didn't just reject marriage as an institution. It had cost me dearly. And financially, I gave up pretty much everything in that process. I gave up like our total net worth combined between the two of us. She got 90% of it. And it was mostly because I just wanted peace. And one of the ways that I could buy peace and get out of, I had child support I had to deal with, but there's also something called maintenance.
What's maintenance?
Maintenance is like alimony. You're paying for that person's lifestyle, right? And in my mind, I couldn't go there. I knew like writing a check every month for childcare, or for any of the things associated with parenting, I have no problem with. Anything else over and above, I knew I would be incredibly resentful. So I pretty much walked away from everything, like I had enough money to like pay rent for a year and that kind of stuff. It's like, okay. But I also knew I was capable of like rebuilding. I was seeing it with enough perspective that, and knowing her at the time, or that version of her at the time, I would have ended up in court for years, right? I just would have. So that's why I was like, take it all. I don't care. Give me something so I can eat and pay rent, but you can have it all. But the other piece of it was that I carried it as a personal failure. Like I literally thought that was the pinnacle of personal failure, that I couldn't make a marriage work. And so I shouldered a huge amount of that responsibility and really beat myself up, on that. And it was also like embarrassing too, because all those friends of mine, they got married, no matter how tough their marriages were, they were sticking with it. So I was like the first to get divorced.
Yeah.
And because of that, for more than 20 years, I was very clear with like every woman I dated that marriage was not on the table. I even ended a relationship several years ago with somebody who I thought I was going to live with the rest of my life, because she ended up wanting marriage in the end and I didn't. So, and then life kind of did what it tends to do. It introduced complexity.
Damn it.
And it's funny because now I'm in a relationship where, because of visa realities, marriage could become a practical option if she can't get this O1 visa approved, which she's been working on for months and months and months. My current girlfriend, she's so independent, she doesn't want to be married. And which, by the way, very refreshing, right? To come out of a relationship where somebody's like, put a ring on it if you want to live with me, to I will never get married nor have children. Which for me, I'm like, check 2 boxes.
Mm-hmm. I want to click into one thing that we haven't covered that much on the show and in our thinking. I want to talk about the financial penalties that occur when you get divorced. You said you lost 90% of what you guys had built together. And just to get it right, you could have selected the option in your separation to pay child support and pay spousal maintenance, which is a monthly payment so that your ex-spouse can maintain a lifestyle that they were having when they were with you. You did not want to be writing a monthly maintenance check. So you said, okay, I'm just going to give you more of just the assets that we have, and then I won't be on the hook to be having that monthly financial relationship with you. Is that accurate?
That is spot on accurate.
What determines who gives who the money, and why is that even happening?
I was making more money.
Okay.
At the time, I was certainly stressed financially because it was my first company that I started. Mm-hmm. So I was really leveraged, but my take home every month was considerably higher than hers. And in the state of Colorado, where I was primarily living, mom gets favored. It's just, she does, from a childcare perspective as well as a financial perspective.
Okay.
I also knew her well enough to know that it was going to be highly charged and quite contentious when it comes to financial resources. So I suggested to my attorney, what if I just give her the house, give her a bunch of cash? I'll take that risk because I have faith in myself. She's happy because she gets way more than she thought up front. Mm-hmm. And then she's got financial options for years. She could sell the house and rent. She could do, there's a lot of stuff she could do. And he said novel, and he said potentially workable. So that's what we did, and she seemed extremely relieved and happy. And what it did is it just erased a body of tension, because I knew we were going to have tension around child care and parenting. So it's like, I can focus on one thing. I just can't deal with multiple layers of things to deal
like a
with.
peace
And
tool.
I'm really glad I did it. Yeah, it's a peace tool. And by the way, she also, and over the course of time and over the years, she asked for more child support, and literally almost every time without much contention, I'm like, fine. And I called it paying for peace. I'm just like, my energy, for me to have negative energy around that is going to take away from my energy that I want to put into building my company. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah. Did you guys have a prenup?
Nope. Ask me the next question, because I know it's going to be a good one. Or I'll ask myself in front of you.
Okay, ask me. Ask you. Ask us, you.
Should I have had a prenup?
Yes. That's what I was going to say next.
I would say the answer to that is generally yes. I think it's a really good idea. When we first started seeing each other, we didn't really have any money. So it just wasn't even a construct at that time. If I got married again, ever, given my evolving position on marriage, I would definitely do a prenup. And I think, you've heard the term probably, good fences make for good neighbors.
Yeah.
If you're advancing in yourself enough, you've done enough personal development work to know that a discussion like that could be quite edgy for some people, but might not be edgy if you are really approaching marriage and relationship from a very healthy perspective. It's nice to have it framed out before jumping into something. It just is. That's my position. I would recommend it to pretty much anybody now.
You're almost pre-paying for peace instead of post-paying for peace. Like,
You're prepaying for peace. Yeah. And the truth is, you might sign a prenup and, most of it sticks, but then there's always extenuating circumstances that change and stuff like that.
Would you only get married again if you had a prenuptial agreement?
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
So that's a big part of the shift in your mind of becoming more, like 20 years of not wanting marriage basically at all, and then realizing that you are open to it, provided that there's like some, what you call fences in place. That's a big part of you being open to it.
I want to be careful there, right? Because there's a bit of a stark binary that you just kind of posited here. And I almost look at it as like, it's not a marriage with special emphasis on if only there is a prenup. You know what I mean? Because for me to personally step into marriage again, it would have to be such a love story, with as much reality cranked into that partnership as possible, so as to diffuse all of the projections. You got to love somebody for exactly who the fuck they are right now. And so if you're pining for a future state that is different than the reality is right now, then those are not healthy grounds for marriage, nor long-term partnership in general. And so the love story would have to be not only fantastic, but also really grounded in some piece of reality or a significant piece of reality. And then further on the reality stuff is, it's like, prenup to me, it's like a gate you go through, the same gate that you have to go through to go get your marriage certificate, the same gate you would go through to organize some sort of ceremony around it, right? It's just there's structural gates to go through.
Yeah.
That don't feel onerous, don't feel like it's a thing hanging over my head. And like, I know people that have been married multiple times, and the prenup is contentious and it's painful. And it's just like, I hear the prenup negotiations and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, why are you guys getting married? Like, the prenup is painful. It doesn't have to be joyful, but if it's painful, that's not a great sign, because then there's such a transactional quality to the marriage that you've lost the love story somewhere. Yeah. It's hard to reset the love story when you go through a contentious prenuptial negotiation.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm really struck by this, like, the love story and the reality. And like you said, we're all attached to this story. And oftentimes the story doesn't work. People don't end up together. But still, we are like culturally obsessed with this forever love and remain committed to that. And there's something that like drives us forward because of that connection to that. It's
Totally
just like
true.
a story as old as time. And at the same time, you've got a person in front of you. Of course, they're going to change, but you can't expect any specific sort of change. You've just got to like level with the person there and make realistic decisions and go through realistic hoops to make sure that the love is grounded in reality. And we're like holding both all the time, this like beautiful, fantastical Disney style princess prince love story and the reality of life and things.
My mother, who is a therapist and like spiritual person and has led retreats all over the world since the 60s, just like this phenomenal woman who she's like done it all. And she is hilarious because as a psychotherapist, she's advising people and doing marriage counseling, doing that stuff all the time. And she's like, listen, marriage is like this, the prince and princess ride into the sunset after the marriage ceremony. They get home, they get into bed and he farts. It's like, thank you for the reality.
I love that.
Not useful if I want to get married again, but thank you for that dose of reality. I hate when the spiritual community overuses the term container. Like I can throw up, actually. And it's kind of funny because really one of the few things that I would see a container, the use of that term applying to is marriage.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So if you could look at it as a conscious container for growth, responsibility, and partnership, that to me feels very healthy and starts to soften it a little bit. It's almost like setting an intention. Like what is this going to be for us?
But like, isn't that how most people see it? What's the alternative that you're comparing it to?
Performative, institutionalized.
Doing it without thinking about it.
Ceremony. Yeah. Doing it without thinking just because you think you should be in it. Throughout the course of my relationship with my now ex-wife, it wasn't like the tensions came up after we were married. The tensions were there, and they started early and I ignored them and I overrode them because I didn't know how to do it any other way. And so what I kept thinking was, well, each increase in commitment to each other would fix it, right? So it was like, we had some tensions before we lived together. Then I was like, oh, we'll live together. That'll fix it. We lived together for a while. Tension still came up. Okay. Let's get engaged. That'll fix it. Got engaged. Didn't fix it. Well, marriage will fix it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be really down for whatever is happening together at that moment. That makes sense.
Yeah. It also makes me think like that what you're saying are like, if there's tension or confusion or angst, like adding the container to that is actually not going to fix it. You've got to fix that, like not the structure. And like people get a dog or have a baby or get married in the hopes that that changes what's inside, but like you're just changing the outside.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
And you think Emily and I should have a prenup to take that to the next step?
Well, if I said no now, I think that would sound a little hypocritical.
I'm curious.
So how about this? I'll say it's a yes and I would say it's a great test, to see if you can get through really uncomfortable conversation. I like the idea of that test. Like I said, if I get married again, I'm definitely going to have a prenup, and that could be a really uncomfortable conversation for someone. But I also know in my heart of hearts, that is a test that we should have now rather than later in a much more negative, much more highly charged environment.
Yeah. It's like going on a big trip with someone or going through hardship. It's just, you get to see more angles of them. It's more information as well as being practical.
Yes, there's definitely the pragmatics of it, but I also think it's kind of an exercise in boundary setting too.
Okay, Rob, I have known you for some years and you have known Maxson for some days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's right.
I like him, by the way.
Good. Me too.
But he seems like a good boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
He's such a good boy.
Does he feed you?
Does he feed you well?
This is the question we ask every guest at the end. Do you think we should get legally married?
Oh, interesting. How long have you guys been together?
About 5 years.
Oh, you're 5 years into this? Oh,
well, not 5 years into the show. That's a more recent.
No. 5 years in.
Question.
No, 5 years into your relationship.
5 years of doing the show. It's kind of like
that's a problem. We got an issue.
I was going to say 60 months of filming and stuff like that. You haven't done a fucking prenup. Where's this blind spot? So, I mean, I haven't seen you two together. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen you in a social setting and I haven't actually experienced your love. I'm guessing if you're having this, I will make up that you guys are in a love story and considering a long-term future together, you guys both seem very well suited for each other and you both have great teeth. So I got to give you that.
That's huge. Yeah.
And, great. So therefore great smiles. You guys seem like a good fit, but a pixelated version of it. I love to get to know you guys together and give you a final verdict. Now, if this is a long-term play and you guys have a minimal amount of tensions and a maximal amount of working through things together and are absolutely deeply in love and know you want to make babies together or not make babies, maybe you just want puppies and kittens. Then certainly consider the possibility of marriage. And if this is a thing that you guys think will advance the ball for you, you look great together. I'll tell you that too. So
Thanks.
It's been lovely getting to know you, Rob. Thanks for being with us and opening up to us and letting us in.
All right, you guys.
Thanks so much.
Much love to both of you.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.
That concludes our interview with Rob. Thank you, Rob. That was awesome. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about prenuptial agreements. We talked about making sure to love the person you're actually with, not a person you are hoping that they change into being later. And when it comes to prenuptial agreements, Rob has a very clear take. He thinks that they're really helpful. He thinks that they're great. He's also traumatized and he's just one person. So if you out there have a different take on prenuptial agreements, different experience, different opinion, please tell us and maybe we can get you on the show and explore that because that'd be amazing. So you can reach out to us at swighamproject@gmail.com, swgmproject@gmail.com. So yeah, we would love to hear from you. So a couple of things, Emily. We talked about making sure to love the person that you are with right at this moment, not a projection you have of who they might be in the future. And I wanted to ask you if you feel like you love the me who I am now, or are you putting any projections on me?
I feel this topic has come up a lot. And it's like the only thing that is true is that the person you're with will change. And also you cannot expect them to change or have any like hopes and dreams about what exactly that looks like. It's like both at the same time.
I guess it's like, it's impossible for you to guarantee that they change in the ways that you want. So you best be okay with their process of changing and who they are right now.
Yes. But all to say, I love who you are right now. And I do not love a projection of you. I'm sure there are little projections I have, and I'm looking forward to like bursting those and seeing who's there when some of that clears away. I think that's just human nature.
But we did have a series of conversations earlier this year where you wanted me to be different. And you did talk to me about that. And we have been working on that. And I've been investing in that. So I wanted to ask about that. And we talked about this on the Karen episode.
I feel really strongly that I didn't want you to be different. There were just like skills that I wanted to be built on top of who you are. But none of it was about like who you fundamentally are. I've never struggled with that. Or been like your natural instincts in a moment or your heart or your like intentions are not what I like. Do you agree with that?
Do I agree that that's what your thinking was?
That I was wanting you to build skills more than I wanted to change who you are fundamentally?
Yes. I never felt like you wanted something for me that I didn't want for myself. And I didn't feel like you were asking me to compromise my values or to care about things that I don't care about. So I felt you were calling me into great versions of myself / like flex into like helping you because it was going to help you. But it never felt like it was a critique of my character. You needed me to be like fundamentally different. I don't think I'm projecting much onto you. I feel like, listen, I'm in a good mood right now and I'm feeling a lot of love for you. So I'll describe it this way. I feel like when I watch you change, I feel delighted that I'm seeing you more fully expressed in whatever form you're supposed to be. If you're supposed to be a professional magician, I'm here for it. If you're supposed to be working a corporate job, I'm here for it. If you're supposed to have 100 million friends and go flitting around the world and maybe we spend less time with each other this year, next year, whatever, I'm here for it. I like watching you be you. And I think I'm pretty open-minded as to what you is. So I don't know, but maybe whatever talks to me in 2 months and we haven't seen each other in a long time and I'm like, I miss her and I'm angry or whatever. I'm not sure. Do you feel like I love the real you, or do you feel like I love a projection of you?
I definitely think that you love the real me. And I know the experience of feeling like someone loves an image of me or like one version. And I do not feel that. And I feel super expressed, and that you're curious about the parts of me that might take away time from you or be complicated to parse out or require tending to. Or yeah. So I feel really accepted and seen in all of those parts. And there will be more. There are probably some that I don't even know about myself, and many that I don't know about in you. I'm excited about all of that.
Well, aren't we just the perfect couple, aren't we? Fabulous.
Sweetie.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah.
So great, babe. I loved doing this podcast episode with you, and we got to talk about how perfect we are in front of the world.
We love our Toyota RAV4. Doing like an ad read, but it didn't really land.
If you were making more money than me over the course of our relationship, would you feel comfortable paying me spousal maintenance every month so I can maintain the lifestyle I had when we were together?
Yeah.
You would send me a check every month if we were not together anymore?
If I was making significantly more money, yeah. Or I guess I would look at your whole financial situation and my whole financial situation. So I think there are more factors than just that, but I'm definitely happy to do that. I would like to love you and take care of you for the rest of your life and be loved and taken care of by you for the rest of my life. And that can look many different ways. I think financial support is...
Even if we're not together?
Yeah.
I think that there's probably a lot of people out there who have a great prenup situation where they had one and they're married and it's amazing. And there's people who have a great prenup situation where they had one and they got divorced and it was amazing, / as good as a divorce can be. And there's probably people who are out there and they had a prenup and it totally sucked and they felt really like that it really damaged their post-marriage life. And there's probably people who had one, or who didn't have one and they wish that they did. Like, Do you think that you want a prenup? I think I definitely want to have the conversation with you with like someone who knows what the law is in whatever state we get married in, because we're signing up for that prenup, for that agreement. You get married in California, you do the California marriage contract. You get married in New York, you do the New York marriage contract. So it'd be probably useful for us to both know what the rules are. But in terms of signing something that predetermines how we want to get divorced, I'm not necessarily in favor of signing it, but I also don't know it. So let's do the convo and figure that out. I feel like some people out there might say, hey, Emily, Maxson, the prenup conversation is very unromantic and you're planning for the end at the beginning. What would you say to people who have that to say, Emily?
I just think that's responsible. And it's perhaps a bit burying your head in the sand to think that could never ever happen to me, given the statistics and just how people change. And it's not a personal failure. It's not something about you and your capability. It's just totally possible. So why not just be comprehensive? You could still be romantic and also be comprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say?
I would say, listen, dinglebat.
Fuckface.
Listen up, you clownfish.
Rascal.
Listen up, you little rascal. You're talking to two people who are making a podcast about if they should get legally married or not. We think that doing this is fun and cool and romantic. So if you don't get that, and then you like will not understand. Like, we think that planning for stuff and like talking it out ad nauseum is actually quite interesting and fun and beautiful and romantic, and has been a really fun experience for us and has made us get closer. Are we afraid of like talking about the end of our relationship? No, we're definitely not. So
heated type shit.
I'm on my heated type shit. I'm on my angry type shit. No, but seriously, we think that that's fine. And if that's the thing that like tears our relationship apart, talking about the end, we probably shouldn't be together in the first place. So do with that what you will. Send us if you did not like what I just said or what Emily just said, send us a note at swigumproject@gmail.com, swgmproject@gmail.com. And then we can talk about it. And we promise to be super nice. And if you want, we can get you on the show and we can like get into it. You can be the anti-prenup enthusiast that we've always been looking for. That would be sick.
Yeah.
Emily, after this conversation with the Rob Schuham, are you putting a pebble in the bucket of wanting to get married, or a pebble in the bucket of wanting to not get married, yet continue dating and loving each other?
I want to say both, but I know you're going to be like snippety about that.
That's right.
I think this one put in not get married. That just sounded like a pretty messy messy situation and maybe like just money and assets creating contention. And I just left being like, sheesh.
Yeah, but what if you were the ex-partner? She got a whole boatload of money.
Yeah.
And that really, I think, probably buoyed her life in a really amazing way. It was really great for her. It was tougher for Rob.
Yeah.
Would you not want to be in her position?
I wouldn't want to be in like a contentious situation with you, I guess. That's where I'm putting it. I would say both, but you're not going to let me do that. So I'm just going to, for the sake of being interesting, going to say that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you being interesting. I feel like some of your answer right now is informed by you are financially independent and have many sources of income and like are a professional magician and you do corporate comms and you do all this different stuff. You're like very financially independent. And I think you plan to continue being financially independent. So having that protection is maybe less important to you. Whereas if you were like, no, my dream is to be a stay-at-home mom and I don't want to build my career, you might be like, hey, I really need that protection. And that protection is really useful for so many people. I really believe that.
Yeah. I might be a stay-at-home mom. I'd be happy with that for a time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your pebble?
I'm putting a pebble in the get married bucket. I've just been feeling very marriage heavy lately. Rabbi Ben, that was dope. Rob Schuham, open to marriage again with a prenup. Okay, fine, maybe, sure. So like, whatever. I'm just feeling romantic. I'm getting very swept up in the excitement of it all. And I also feel like we would get divorced nicely from each other. Like I think that we'd be nice to each other, even if it was like, we weren't supposed to be together. But I bet a lot of people think that going into it.
Yeah.
So hard for us to know. Reference this back in a few years and we'll see sort of how things shake out.
You say that a lot. You're like, check in with me on this 2 years from now.
I'm just very aware that I'm being recorded making claims about our relationship that literally, might be proven wrong, which I'm okay with because, what I'm saying right now feels true to me now.
True to me now. True to me now.
True to me now. True to me now. It feels true to me now. Okay. Well, that was really fun. Thanks, Rob.
And lastly, if you have been listening to the show and it has moved you in any way or made you think about something differently or opened up a conversation with someone or people in your life, we would super, super love to hear from you. It doesn't have to be long. You could just fire off a quick email to us, or you can write us many, many pages or anything in between.
We want to know. We want to know.
So write into swinghamproject@gmail.com. That's swgmproject@gmail.com.
Hell yeah. Bye. Should We Get Married is an original series by Easily Wowed and Bad Cooley Productions. This episode was created by me, Maxson and
And me, Emily Carter.
And our producer, Ramoy Phillip.
Theme music is the song Fake Romantic by the band Melt. Logo and brand design by Madeline Vogue.
Sound design and mixing by Ramoy Phillip.
There are so many of you out there who are asking these exact same questions, and we don't all have to investigate marriage on our own. Subscribe to Should We Get Married and learn with us as we make our decision.
See you next time.
Fake romantic, you told me